Gonna end the Sunday with a review of The Wretched. Well, I have no expectations for The Wretched. I've been very lucky and have kept myself away from every single trailer and every single review. So this is gonna be exact because I have no idea what's coming for me, like none at all. So I just saw The Wretched, and I had a lot of fun with this one. It was a film directed by Brett Pierce and Drew T. Pierce, two brothers who have also been responsible for one of my favorite zombie comedies of all time called Deadheads. If you haven't seen that one, you should definitely check it out. It's sort of badass. So this movie is shot through the perspective of this kid called Ben, played by John Paul Howard, and he does a really good performance. Like, I really enjoyed seeing this perspective from this kid. He has this really young, fresh energy. You believe his motivation when he's crushing on a chick. You believe that he's scared of what's going on in this place. And it's basically he's living in this house with his father, and the neighbors are starting to act quite differently. The woman who lives beside him starts knocking on his door in the middle of the night, wanting to go inside. And in a short matter of time, you quickly realize that the female neighbor, who is also living with her husband and her children, seems to be possessed by some kind of a weird entity that feeds on children. And this movie doesn't shy away to show all the gruesomeness and ghouliness of the whole entire ordeal. People usually have huge problems in showing child murderers, but no, this one doesn't. This one just goes right at it and blatantly hits you with it. And I don't want to give too much away about the plot because I've already said too much, so anything else would be considered a major spoiler territory. But what I really, really enjoyed about The Wretched is that it takes this kind of an 80s and 90s vibe. You are really feeling as if this movie was shot in the 80s or in the 90s. It's has that little sprinkle also of a Stephen King story. That is generally very appreciated in today's times, but it doesn't overdo it. It's not like a movie. It's not like, let's say, Stranger Things, where the whole entire thing just has Stand By Me and it's written all over it. No, this is just a little sprinkle of Stephen King atmosphere, and it really hits it home. It really works very well. It's the kind of movie that has this sort of a rainy day look. The cinematography is just tends to move very drastically between incredibly dark colors and incredibly bright colors, which really puts the contrast of the whole thing into spin. The characters are all written out beautifully. Some are kind of generic, but it's your classical horror movie, so it's that just the right amount of generic where you don't get annoyed by how predictable the characters are, because they may be generic, but they're not really predictable at all. There was very little I didn't like about this one. There's a couple of cliches, too many, and just general some inconsistencies. I would have, for example, liked to know a lot more about Ben's social life. There's a lot of focus on his social life and how he's dealing with his friends at this job he's working in. I would have liked to see this relationship unravel a bit more, but it kind of gets dropped when the whole entire horror aspect of the movie completely takes over in the middle of the second act latest. It is kind of a slow burn, but you don't notice it really, because the characters are just so well written that you're always very invested in what is going on in their heads and generally how this demonic thing works. Maybe I would have also enjoyed some more explanations in how this demon works, but the movie does leave room for a sequel, so if there's gonna be one, then I find it pretty cool that they didn't tell us too much. I'd be accepting a sequel of this very badly. It seems really cool. I went in here without any expectations and I really fucking liked it. So you should really give this one a shot. I'm gonna give The Wretched a 7 out of 10.